So the City of Montreal, you remember property assessments came out a couple weeks ago.
I remember.
Everyone freaked out looking at some of those numbers. We had to calm people down at the time by saying that's not your increased tax bill. That's your increased property assessment. Your taxes will not be going up that much, but they are going up. So let's try to get you as much as we can on this. Dominique Olivier is president of the Executive Committee of the City of Montreal. She gets to tell you the good news. So Dominique, thank you for being here. It's appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
So let's start with what we're looking at here for residents here in Montreal. What is that tax increase going to be?
You will have to wait until November 29th to get the final number, which is the time where we're going to present our budget for 2023.
But we can tell people it's between what likely numbers, between how much and how much?
Okay, one of the things that people have kept asking me in the past week is the inflation rates that we've been seeing lately are around 8%. Are you going to increase my bill from 8%? I said, certainly not 8%, not even 7%, and I could say not even 6%. But the fact is that we cannot do what we have been doing in the past 3 years. If you remember, for the 2 years, the two really bad years of the pandemic, we had frozen the taxes, and then last year we limited it at 2%. This is not a viable option for us this year because then it will affect our ability to give services. So what I've been saying to people is that we're looking at the scenarios where it's definitely under 6% and definitely not 2.
So not 2 and definitely under 6. So somewhere between, we're going to say 3 and 6%. For the most part.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's somewhat reassuring, although the concern for me is, I mean, obviously I understand that you couldn't keep the freeze in place and that you need financing to keep the services going, as you mentioned. But I worry we are in a housing crisis and landlords are going to be passing on percentages of this increase to their tenants at a time when, budgets are already spread so thin. So how do you want to reassure both homeowners and renters that we're going to get through this?
Well, basically, I have a lot of empathy for the situation that you are presenting right now, and I'd like to remind people that even us as elected people, we're either owners or renters of places, so it's going to hit us as much. So that's a story I like to tell very often. Is the first phone number, the first phone call that I got when the new role was released was from my mom, which is 85, and said, "What are you doing to me? Are you trying to get me out of my house?" Mm-hmm. So
how did you reassure her?
Well, I told her that exactly what I've been telling people for the past month is that an increase in the value of your property is not equivalent to the increase that you're going to see on your tax bill at the end. But we are very, very, very concerned about the affordability of our metropolis, and that's why we did our Chantier Montréal Abordable, Affordable Montreal, which is looking to have some permanent affordable housing built in the next 10 years, but that are going to stay available forever. So that's the idea that we have to put together all kinds of people, the promoters, the nonprofit organizations that are working on that, so that we can develop a new model for housing in Montreal, affordable housing in Montreal. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that for me, it's important, and for our administration, it's important that we respect the capacity of paying of Montrealers. But what Montrealers also have to realize is that, the increase, for example, of gas prices makes it more expensive for us to be able to for example, to pay for snow removal, for example. And, the construction rates that are going up are also affecting our capacity of doing in libraries and community centers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So, Dominique, let me stop you there, though, because people hear this and say, okay, we understand we can't have what we had last year because costs are going up. And then I hear the mayor yesterday talk about the fact that the funding model that the city uses is archaic, outdated, and disconnected from the responsibilities of the city. And the blame goes to the provincial government. But what's happened over the last 4 years that we haven't able to get a deal where the provincial government recognizes that the city needs more money?
It's interesting that you would say that, Aaron, because if you think about it, the provincial government has recognized that citizens needed a tax rebate, for example, or needed a check to help with inflation. But it never helped the cities in general. And when we think about the responsibilities that we have, our demands are not that big. For Montreal, for example, we say, can you pay exactly the price of the services that you delegate to us? For example, integration of immigrants. We have a contract with the government where they give us $4 million a year, and they receive $640 million every year to do that. And we only have like 80% of the immigrants that come to the Montreal region. So we have to renegotiate all of those ententes, and this is what we're trying to do right now. And we did this week, actually on Monday, we did a forum on Montreal's fiscality to try to agree to see if we could have the civil society agree with us and be part of a broader reflection on municipal taxation and how can we identify ways to save on public expenditure, but also new funding mechanism and stable revenue sources that are different from what we have been seeing lately. And I think that this is something that has found a lot of echo from other big cities in Quebec. If you remember, about 2 months ago, the 10 mayors of the 10 biggest cities in Quebec got together and said, we need money to face climate changes. And that same day, if you remember, the metro was flooded by a rain that was incredible. So it's kind of a loss and a waste of public funding when the government doesn't recognize that we need to act soon. And I think that the fact that more and more people are saying that to the government are going to make them listen more and more to us.
Well, I was going to ask you based on that, are you more optimistic? I mean, now Francois Legault said, it's a new administration, or at least another sort of kick at the can, if you will, 4 years later, and that they're open to working with Montreal. Is that hopeful? Are you optimistic that anything will change?
We are very optimistic. We are very optimistic because it just makes common sense, When we work in emergency situation that we could have prevented, it cost us more. And I don't think that the Quebec government wants to, especially not this one, wants to waste, the taxpayers' money.
What's the
timeline? So we will have to have those conversations in the next couple of months.
Okay, and then Madame Olivier, what kind of timeline are we talking about here? When will these negotiations be?
Okay, there's different timeline. What we're doing, we're going to do a summit on fiscality with all the other cities in Quebec in March. And as you know, in March also there's a new budget that's coming. Yeah. And we have a fiscal pact that needs to be readdressed for 2024. So the idea is to come at the end of 2023, having gained some things already, and to make sure that in 2024 we have developed that new model with the government. So the next budget, I would say, after this one.
I guess I can say we wish us luck. We're all in this together.
We're going to all wish us luck.
Yes. Dominique Olivier, President of the Executive Council of the City of Montreal, on those tax increases that will be coming up. Dominique, thanks so much for the time. Good hearing from you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.